The Mario Kart series is in many ways the Smash Bros of Mario. You know you've made it as a Mario character once you're playable in Mario Kart. And boy, with the recent release of Mario Kart World, it seems a lot of Mario characters and enemies have finally made it. But even in the egalitarian world of Mario Kart, where all you need is a license and you can be playable, clearly not all playable characters are created equal. I mean, some don't even have driving animations. So today we shall objectively determine who the most important Mario Kart character is, according to the box art. Specifically what we'll be doing here today is taking a look at the North American box arts of every game in the Mario Kart series to see how many appearances each character has across the series. As for what counts as a character, we are specifically only going to be looking for characters that have appeared as a playable character in at least one non-tour Mario Kart game. But if they are playable, we will credit them with any appearance, even if it's just a couple pixels large, or if it's just an in-universe depiction, like an illustration of them. But before we get into it, go ahead and predict in the comments, who do you think is getting the most appearances? I'll give you a hint. It's not Mario. But there's only one way to find out who it actually is, so let's get started. We start with Super Mario Kart, where racing becomes an adventure. This one's about as straightforward and egalitarian as it can be. All 8 playable characters in the game are on the box art. That's one appearance for Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, Koopa, Bowser, Yoshi, and Donkey Kong Jr. We've also got some items flying around, but those aren't characters, obviously. Moving on to Mario Kart 64, designed for N64 controller pack, this one's also pretty obvious. Gone is equal representation for all, replaced instead with obvious favoritism towards the new racers. In total we have Mario, Wario, Donkey Kong, and Bowser on the box. That brings us to Mario Kart Super Circuit. Link it up, 1 game pack, 4 players. Though, ironically, despite the tagline, this is the first Mario Kart game to only feature a single character on the box, being Mario himself. Mario Kart Double Dash Team Up for twice the fun gives us an actual scene again. We've got Mario and Luigi in the foreground, hotly pursued by Peach and Daisy along with Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, and bringing up the rear, it's Yoshi and Birdo riding a Yoshi Kart, which I am counting as a second appearance for Yoshi. Mario Kart DS killed off our beloved taglines, but also, though his pose is more dynamic this time, for our purposes, this box art is identical to Super Circuit. You know, I wonder if it was an intentional design decision to have only 1 character on the handheld box arts, to reflect the fact that those games are much more likely to be played as a single-player experience. Really makes you think. Mario Kart Wii, Wii Wheel inside, is iconic and very easily accounted for. It just has Mario and Luigi. Mario Kart 7, playable in 2D and 3D. 3D mode for ages 7+. See back. That's stretching it, isn't it? I mean, that's just literally what every 3DS game says. It's not a tagline. I guess the taglines are truly dead now. As for the box art itself, I'm starting to notice a pattern developing. Now we have Mario, Luigi, and Bowser. But that's not all. Bowser's kart emblem also counts as a depiction of himself, so that's 2 Bowser appearances here. But we're actually not quite done here, because there's the matter of these stands to consider. It's hard to make out anything specific, but based on the smeared colors, they definitely seem to be occupied. But by whom? Well, these stands appear in-game on the track Toad Circuit. There we can see that they're occupied by Shy Guys, Toads, Boos, Monty Moles, Hammer Bros, Birdos, and Goombas. But how many appearances do we have here exactly? I mean, this is a whole stands full of character. Well, it's basically impossible to tell from the box art, but we can get a better look in-game. This is the stands in the box art. Counting these seated in the front row, we can see that it's 28 seats across. But how deep is it? We can't really count how far back they go because A, the camera angle is difficult, and B, for performance reasons, members of the crowd that you can't see from the track don't exist. But if we look at the map, we can see that the individual crowd members are visible on the map as blurry dots. It's hard to be super confident here, but I count about 4 rows before the ceiling blocks our view from above. But based on the neighboring stands, we can infer that this is a third of the total depth of the stands, meaning that they are 12 rows of 28 seats. But that's just level 1. The stands are 2-decker here, with the top deck having 2/3 of the depth of the bottom deck. So practically we're dealing with 20 rows of 28 seats, or a total capacity of 560. Now we'll just divide that evenly among our 7 types of guests to get 80 of each of them in the stands. So that's on this box art technically 80 Shy Guys, Toads, Monty Moles, Hammer Bros, Birdos, and Goombas accounted for. Unfortunately, the Boos don't count because despite the fact that King Boo has been a mainstay in the series since Mario Kart Double Dash, regular Boos have actually never been playable. I know, I was shocked too. I guess they're too busy being items. Mario Kart 8 is a bit simpler. We've got Mario and Peach up front with Bowser, Luigi, and Toad up top. Though Bowser and Toad count twice because their card emblems are depictions of themselves. We also have Rosalina on the far right of the box art, and Lakitu appears in the Mario Kart TV logo on this billboard. Finally, this stained glass window is a depiction of Peach. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's box art is structured similarly. We've got Mario, Peach, and Bowser up front, with Bowser getting his customary emblem appearance as well. Up top, we've got Link, Inkling, and Isabelle. Now, technically, on this vehicle, Inkling should have an emblem depicting her squid form right here. But that doesn't seem to exist on the box art at all. I mean, I'm not even getting a hint of it. There should not be this much black here. So, unfortunately, that's still only one appearance for Inkling. Finally, we've got Yoshi and Toad back here, with Toad having just barely visible, in this smudge of color at the rear of his cart, his emblem, which, of course, depicts himself. And that brings us to, well, Mario Kart World, which is a fair bit busier than all of the rest of the box arts, to say the least. Let's start with the obvious. This cluster of racers includes Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Biddybug, Rosalina, Toadette, King Boo, Bowser, Peach, Pokey, Waluigi, Daisy, Birdo, Donkey Kong, Rocky Wrench, Pauline, Koopa, and Toad. As for emblems in this group, Bowser's would be on the back of his cart, so we're safe from him. However, Biddybug's is pretty obvious, and Toadette has one on the side of her bike. Mario has this mushroom on the side of his cart, but that's actually just an ad featuring a 1-up mushroom, not a Toad head, so that doesn't count as a character. Now out on the outskirts and in the skies, we've got Penguin, Spike, Cheep Cheep, Lakitu, Goomba with emblem, Bowser Jr., another Goomba with another emblem, another Lakitu, and Wario. That is all of our active racers. But we've got spectators to consider too. We've got a Toad working at a Yoshi's truck, which, by the way, that counts as a Yoshi depiction, so there you go. On the other side, there are a couple of Toads watching the race. Theoretically, someone is driving these two cars, but the windows are too tinted to tell who. I checked in-game to see if these types of vehicles are only ever driven by one type of character, but no, anyone can drive them. Koopas, Shy Guys, Toads. What we can account for are these 4 flying Koopas on the top right. And that is every living being on the box. Now for depictions. The Mario Kart TV logo, which features Lakitu, appears on this plane or blimp. Honestly, it's hard to tell. It also appears 3 more times on these racing barriers. While we're here, I'll make a note of the bloopers and fuzzies appearing on these advertisements. Unfortunately, neither of them have ever been playable in Mario Kart, so they don't count. What is a playable character is a dolphin, which appears on both of these feather flags, but also on these buoys branded with the dolphin's likeness, giving Dolphin 10 appearances on this box. But staying on the beach theme, if you zoom way over here, you can make out the giant balloon flying over Koopa Beach, which is, of course, a depiction of a Koopa. Another visible focal point of a track is Peach Castle, which if you look closely, you can see the stained glass window featuring Peach right here. Turn your focus to the top left, and you can see Bowser's face spewing out of the plumes of smoke from Bowser's castle. I was also on the lookout for Mario Circuit and Moo Moo Meadows, since they have big statues of Mario and Cow respectively, but neither track seems to exist where they should be geographically on this box art. That just leaves one last detail I noticed. A billboard for the film The Adventures of Toad. It's hard to make the details on the box art, but when you find the billboard in-game, you can clearly tell it depicts Toad and Toadette as its leads. And that is every character on the Mario Kart World box art. So after all that, Toad has the most appearances on Mario Kart box arts with 90, followed by Goomba at 84 and Birdo at 82. You can see the rest of the rankings here, but that raw number of appearances can be misleading. I like to weight with some other factors for my final ranking. The weighting formula will be as follows. Total number of appearances, plus a bonus for early appearances, 1 point for a first appearance in Super Mario Kart, with each subsequent game losing 1/10 of a point until a Mario Kart World first appearance is only worth 1/10 of a point. We'll then multiply that number based on the number of boxes appeared on in total, so consistency is rewarded more than appearing on, say, 10 ads on a single box art. We'll be using a logarithmic function for this, such that the difference in multiplier between appearing on 1 box versus 2 is much greater than the difference between appearing on 9 versus 10. And after weighing all of that data accordingly, here are your most important Mario Kart characters, according to the box art. Tied at 26 with 1.1 point are Rocky Wrench, Spike, Pokey, Cheep Cheep, Penguin, Pauline, Bowser Jr., King Boo, and Waluigi, all of which had a single appearance on the Mario Kart World box art. Tied at 23rd with 1.2 points are Link, Isabelle, and Inkling, each only appearing on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's box art. In 22nd with 1.7 points is Diddy Kong, appearing only once in Double Dash, but fairly early on, earning bonus points that way. In 21st with 2 points is Donkey Kong Jr., appearing only once, but as early as it was possible to appear. In 20th with 2.1 points is Biddybug, due to technically appearing twice on the Mario Kart World box art. In 19th with 3.1 is Toadette, getting the edge on Biddybug thanks to her filmography. In 18th with 3.8 points is Rosalina. She only has 2 fairly recent appearances, but spreading them across 2 boxes helps her rise above the likes of Toadette. In 17th with 4.4 points is Daisy, with basically the same profile as Rosalina, except Double Dash is an earlier game than Mario Kart 8, giving her the edge. In 16th with 4.7 points is Wario. Same deal as the last 2, but his first appearance was even earlier in Mario Kart 64. In 15th with 7.8 points is Donkey Kong. Same first appearance as Wario, but the extra appearance in Double Dash buoys his score higher. In 14th with 10.1 points is Dolphin, a character that hasn't appeared on any boxes in the flesh and whose first appearance was in World, rises above the others thanks to having 10 appearances on that box alone. In 13th with 11.9 points is Lakitu. A lot of appearances on World's box helps, but what puts him over Dolphin is that initial appearance in Billboard form back in 8. In 12th with 13 points is Koopa. He has as many appearances as Lakitu, but a debut all the way back in Super tilts the numbers just barely in his favor. In 11th with 15.8 points is Yoshi. Not a ton of appearances on any one box art, but has been consistently present throughout the series. In 10th with 18.4 points is Luigi. He's never appeared on a box more than once, but has made an appearance on just over half of them. In 9th with 19.7 points is Peach. She's appeared on one less box than Luigi, but her stained glass windows give her enough double appearances to take the lead. In 8th with 28.9 points is Bowser. He has as many appearances as there are box arts, often doubling up thanks to his racer emblem, and he's been there since the beginning. In 7th with 34 points is Mario. He's never appeared twice on a single box, but he has made that one appearance on every single one of them. Who could possibly beat that? Tied for 4th with 80.4 points are Shy Guy, Monty Mole, and Hammer Bro. Honestly, if you want to discount them, I don't blame you. Literally, their only appearance was in the stands at Mario Kart 7. But mathematically, there were 80 of them depicted there, so here they are. In 3rd, with 137.6 points, is Goomba, benefiting greatly from being in the crowd at Mario Kart 7, but actually then parlaying that exposure into some fairly prominent spots in Mario Kart World's box art. In 2nd, with 165.4 points, is Birdo. She was in the crowd at 7, but also was an actual racer on the cover for World, and featured as far back as Double Dash. But finally, in 1st, with 224.3 points, is Toad. He was in the stands at Mario Kart 7, all over World as a spectator, a racer, and an actor. Not to mention appearing on both versions of 8 with a narcissistic emblem. And to top it all off, he's one of the original 8. He's certainly helped by that crowd shot in 7, but take that out and he's still vying with Mario and Bowser for the top spot. So congratulations, Toad! The Everyman, you are the most important Mario Kart character, according to the box art. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, a like and subscription would be appreciated. In fact, if you aren't subscribed with notifications, you really should be. We've got a very exciting Mario Kart World video coming up very soon. Seriously, I've been working on this for well over a month at this point, and it's going to be special. So stay tuned for that. You may also want to check out my other videos on the channel, like this one where I investigated the one-way routes in Mario Kart World, or my other box art analysis, or perhaps my Twitch channel. And of course, before I sign off, I've got to thank my wonderful patrons, especially my $15 tier patrons, Alex Oxling and Ashford Says. But anyways, until next time, I've been SumiCraft, and I'll catch you in the next video. Goodbye.